Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Women Crushing It Wednesdays. I have my regular panel here. I have my girl Nika, Esme, and Nancy, and we have a couple of other guests. G Funky, how y'all doing tonight?
Pretty
I'm
good,
Good,
pretty
well.
good.
but
Good,
we
good.
have the beautiful, the talented Jenny. How are you, Jenny?
Hey, I'm doing good, good.
Good.
Glad to
We're so
be
glad that
be
you joined
on this and
early.
talk to you again.
Oh, I know. I haven't seen you in so long. I hate that we have to
Yeah,
see each other like this, but we'll get together soon.
yeah,
So
for sure.
before we start talking about you and everything that's going on, I know some of the viewers wanted to know what we thought about the fights this weekend.
Mm.
So we had three different cards. We had DAZN, Showtime, Top Rank, but the one that
PBC.
I want to talk about, the one that I was interested in, was AJ and Usyk. So whenever we went, what did y'all? First of all, I want to go around the panel. What did y'all think about that card? We'll start with you, Nika, since you're right there to my left.
Well, I actually just saw that main event for that fight, which was,
Oh, really?
yeah, because I was doing a lot of stuff that day, but I did try to, and there was a lot of fights going on. I had played somebody's computer's playing back. I don't know if it's mine. Was it mine?
Yeah,
Maybe it's
mute
mine.
your mics. Mute your mic so it's your turn.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Now I don't hear it. All right. So I thought the fights. I mean, I knew that Usyk was gonna win because I didn't see AJ coming with anything that would be different, like to put it on Usyk. Like I just feel like he doesn't have a chin. For as big as he is, his chin is just not as big as his body or strong as his body, and I feel like he just doesn't have that grit, And I felt like he did better in this fight, but it just wasn't. It didn't happen. So and then the post fight, people are calling it meltdown. I'm not gonna really harp on him for that because I feel like AJ he's been very gracious in all his defeats, when he lost to Ruiz. And he's always pretty good in the media. And then he's a human being. So I feel like I'm going to give him a pass for having a real raw moment for losing and just not being able to handle it at the moment. But he's getting killed on Twitter and every other social media for reacting the way he did with throwing the belts out the ring and everything. But I'm not mad at it because I felt like that was just like a raw moment. And then afterwards, he at the press conference, the post press conference, he was like, he felt bad about what he did. So, and he cried and everything. So I just felt like he was going through a lot, and he just had a real raw moment. So I feel like everybody should just take it easy on him, and he's not the end of the world. People
I
have
mean,
done
okay,
worse.
if you say
People
so.
have done worse. Like come on. So yeah.
Okay, all right. Esme, what did you think about the fight? And are we being too hard on him for the way he acted after the fight?
Well, that just overshadowed everything. But no, Usyk was. I knew Usyk was gonna win. What I was curious to see was what AJ was gonna bring as far as having his trainer be Robert Garcia. So I wanted to see if there was things that were tweaked, if there was some improvement. But I mean, there was things that changed. But I still think he should just maybe retire. Maybe just not fight anymore. Find
Maybe stick to modeling Calvin Klein underwear.
Oh
I
my
don't know.
gosh!
Maybe.
Really? That's y'all
I
are
agree
going
with
hard
that.
on
I
him.
agree with that. I'm down with that. I'm fine with it. However, he needs to make his money next. I think he should just like focus on that.
So, G Funky, what did you think about the fight? And I want to know what you thought about the scores.
Well, I'll say this, Christine. First, I want to say thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's an honor being on here with you. I can honestly say that I wouldn't be where I'm at today in the YouTube boxing community without your help. So I thank you for that, and I thank you for giving me the platform
Too
here to
kind.
come on and talk with you ladies about the fights. But I'll say this: I think it was the day before the fight that I seen some tweets come out from some people in the boxing business about the judges and the referee that were in this fight. Now there was two of the three judges that were in the Ruiz rematch, which was also in Saudi Arabia, and the same exact referee from the Ruiz rematch. So that got my spidey senses tingling a little bit. I was close to changing my pick. I picked Usyk to win by decision, and I'm like, man, if this thing goes 12, AJ might have a crack, with these judges. This almost the same exact panel. But I feel like the right guy won the fight. And AJ, look, I know he's getting a lot of crap for what he did after the fight, and look, I don't know if that was a mental breakdown or what. I know what it's like to to have those kind of emotions after a big loss like that. I've never competed on that level, obviously, but I've competed in team sports and in school and high school and stuff like that. So when you lose a big game or something, you do get a little emotional. That's as far as I'll go on that. I don't want to dig too deep. But as far as what he did, I felt like he did change some things up in there to make this fight more competitive than the first time. I like the aggressive effort to the body early on that he went to Usyk's body. And I felt like that was a good game plan. He went straight to the high guard for most of the fight instead of the long guard, which he usually uses for a tall guy, which is you want to use that sometimes. But Usyk really did take advantage of that long guard in the first fight, so I could see why they changed that. He didn't play that little high five game that the southpaws like to do with the orthodox, where they'll kind of put the hand out there and tap hands with you. That to me, that always advantages the southpaw when the orthodox fighter starts doing that. So those were some good adjustments that I seen, but I really think that it was the gas tank that failed AJ. He was in the fight, I think, in the first 10 rounds, and then he poured on a big rally in round 9, and I was like, man, he might pull this thing out, But then I think he was gassed after that, and when he saw that he landed those good shots on Usyk, and Usyk didn't go nowhere, and he came out and poured the pressure on himself, he was like, oh shit, like this little guy ain't going nowhere. So I had Usyk sweeping the whole championship rounds, and a hell of an effort there for AJ, but Usyk just had a little bit extra in the tank, and he's a hella competitor himself. And what a chin, he's able to take some big shots there from Joshua. And I thought the fight was interesting. And like I said, I won't speak too much about what happened afterwards, but I can understand the frustration of losing like that. So, but I thought it was a good effort from AJ.
Okay. Nancy, what did you think? What did you think?
I mean, everybody I think has summed it up really well. And I agree. I think there were some benefits with the time that Robert was able to work with him, right? You could see that he went into the body more. And I think overall, he just could not get it into that next gear. And that I think is going to be the challenge. I know his frustration was coming from doing everything he's supposed to, right? But you have to be able to just turn it into that next gear, and he couldn't do it. And then the question is, can he, right? I think that's what we all need to see. I'm not going to retire him right away, right? But I do think that we all agree, that there needs to be some serious, reconvening and thinking through, what the next step would be. But he just there's just the intangibles, I think, in a fighter that you can train, you can coach, but there's just some things that have to come from the fighter. And with him having spoken in the past to him feeling that need to get that dog out, right? There's only so much that a coach can do. That's in any sport, right? The dog that he's needing to get into that next gear has to come from him, and nobody but him, right, can really release that. You can give the person all the tools, but it's still really on him. So those are my thoughts.
What about the post fights meltdown?
So that, it made me think about a lot of things. On this show, we've talked so much about the importance of that mental readiness, right? And also having that poise, having just that composure that comes after a fight. Just most recently, the one that I can think of that just was phenomenal with that is Virgil. Of course, that was a win, right? But just having that poise, win or lose after a fight, is just so important. But I feel like there's nothing wrong with just him expressing himself. Should he have maybe thought through before reacting, of course. But can you imagine just in that moment, after all that sacrifice, all the changes that he made, and to still not win the fight? He did let his emotions, get the best of him. I do wish that, at that level in the sport that he's in, that he really should have had somebody from his team, just really try to, bring him back, and guide him a little bit more. The fact that he even went back into the ring, I mean, that's at a point where, Nika, you grab me and be like, Nancy, no, 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 we gotta go, right?
I might let you get it off, Nancy. I don't know.
Right?
I wanna ask Jenny something. So Jenny,
Yes.
boxers do not learn how to lose. It's
Yeah.
like nobody
Right.
says, "Hey, what if you lose? How are you going to act?"
Yeah.
So when somebody acts the way that AJ acted, what do you say to that? Like, what are you supposed to do?
Well, I think everybody has their own way of dealing with a loss. I don't think everybody doesn't be like, oh, I lost, and they get, they don't. There's not one way to act. So, and it depends on the fight. Like, that was a big fight, and like he said, he made all those changes, and he didn't get the success that he wanted. So it was a loss that was like such a disappointment loss, because he thought he was gonna come out on the top with all these little changes he did, and he thought he was doing the right thing, and then now he's like, dang, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. So he's questioning all his preparation. So he's probably really frustrated and confused, and there's so many thoughts and emotions that go on when you lose, depending on what fight it is. So it's just how you feel that day and how you cope with it.
Yeah, and so I also want to ask you, like, we talk a lot on this show about sports psychologists and about the psychological part of it, and it's like you can train, and you've done the best in camp, but then there's something about taking that test. Can you talk about that?
What do you mean by taking that test? Like the fight itself?
The test, like whatever your test is, whether it be a world championship fight or
Oh,
a fight to the next level, what happens and what needs to be done for you to have that same focus as you did in camp.
well, I think I think some fighters might overthink a little bit. For like me myself, I'll look at my training and I trust it, and I go in there and just remember I've worked so hard, and just to not overthink about the moment. Enjoy the moment, not be like, oh my gosh, okay, this is my Olympic fight. I finally waited 8 years to get here, and it's finally here. What if, don't think of like, what if this goes bad? What if this goes bad? I'm just like, okay, I trust my training. I'm gonna go in there and do what I've been doing. And I just try not to overthink about everything. I'm here to fight, and I'm here to be the best I can be this day, and so that's what I'm gonna do.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
Absolutely.
wanna highlight this comment right here, because I'm gonna co-sign this. Jesus this is so true. People were It says, didn't people complain about AJ being nice before and after fights, especially and the Ruiz defeat? Yes,
There you
because
go.
he was so nice, and they were like, oh, he's too soft, bah, 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 bah. And then he showed a little emotion this time, and now we're like crucifying him. We cannot satisfy boxing
You know
fans.
what?
It's just
Yeah.
not it.
You
We
just
cannot
can't make
satisfy
boxing
people.
fans happy. You can't.
Yeah, can't please everyone.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
Oh, why you got me on the
absolutely
big
right.
screen?
But off the off the ring, he's friendly, not friendly, whatever the case is. But he just needs to have that aggression inside of that ring. I mean, he's a big guy. He has a long reach. I think he should.
Yeah.
If he had somewhat anger, if he had just a bit more aggression in that fight, he would have had a chance.
I
Yeah.
agree. Fight like a
Yeah.
big man. You're the big man in there. Fight like a big man. I mean, that's really all. I mean, I'm not saying that's would have won him the fight, but I felt he would have had a better chance if he would
Yeah.
have used his size more. But
Yeah,
True.
I agree. I agree with that. So it'll be really interesting just to see what the next step here is. And you're absolutely right. Boxing fans are so brutal.
Yeah.
So him dealing with that as well. Oh, there's an echo.
Yeah, the echo. I'm not sure. So why are we retiring him already?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, let me mute.
Are we retiring him because he lost? Because I feel like, gosh, he doesn't have that many losses. Why are we retiring him? Because he lost and he had a little bit of a meltdown at the end. Like,
Have the
come on.
heart.
I think he's still got some. I think he's got a lot of money to make still.
Yeah,
I
me
think,
too. Like, why are we retiring him?
yeah, I would love to see him fight Wilder still. That's a fight that we talked
Right.
about a long time ago, years ago, when they were both champions, and it never happened. But I still think there's a lot of money to be made with that fight, and I still think it's a good fight.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Christine back on because she's having issues.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not ready to retire him.
There she go.
Come on. I just it's a loss, y'all. It's a loss, and they're going to go back to the drawing board. Um, but is he going to continue to be viewed as that superstar, right? When you think about like his last, 3-4 fights, and how that affects him, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to go out that way anyway. I
Yeah,
think,
exactly.
yeah, I don't think he's
Exactly.
ready to do that. I think he wants to show
wasn't.
more of himself.
His face was just, I don't know, like he looked so. His face looked tense to me, like he wasn't breathing, like he was overthinking his punches and just so much overthinking. And I don't know if that's the outside world kind of bothering him in the inside of the ring, but I felt like his just his head just wasn't in there at times throughout the fight. Like he was just tense and looked a little bit off.
So Jenny, let me ask you. So, is it up to the fighter and you as a fighter, or is it up to the people around you to say, you know what, this is it? Like, enough is enough. Like, for certain people, like, I'm not saying that it's enough for AJ, like he should retire, but I'm saying, when is it? Whose job is it to say, you know what, we gotta, reconsider, the future.
Honestly, I think it's up to the fighter. I think the people around him. I mean, you should have people around who you trust.
Yes.
And if it was myself, I would ask, my coach what he thinks. I would ask what they think, but ultimately, yeah, it would be my decision. And I trust the
Right.
people around me. Hopefully, he trusts the people around him. Maybe he might be like, man, never, like, I don't know about you, I don't know who I know he's made some changes and he's struggling with that. So I'm not sure about AJ, but yeah, it's ultimately up to him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think a lot of times, boxers don't have the right people around them,
Yeah.
and the entourages are getting paid, and and they're thinking, well, if this person stops fighting, all that stops. What do y'all think? G Funky, what do you think about that? Who's the one to say, hey, it's time?
I think honestly it's up to the fighter to be quite honest with you. And I seen a comment there. I think it was from somebody named Mike Ramirez who said something about how let me go back and get it. Now, he said, he should have took a tune-up. I agree with that. I think
Yeah.
switching trainers, he should have took a tune-up fight in between for this fight, and I think he would have probably performed a little bit better. Who knows if he would have pulled it out or not? But I said the same thing about Wilder going in, but his team and his fans, they were adamant about getting that immediate rematch, and he had a new trainer in Malik Scott. So, we kind of saw what happened there. I feel like a tune-up would have done AJ some good. Who knows if he's going to stay with Robert Garcia though? But I think at the end of the day, it's up to him, and I think he knows that there's some money out there that he could still get his hands on because he's still a big name even with the loss.
Yeah, he's a legend. He's a legend, across the pond. I mean, he's the one that fills up the stadiums and makes all the money and makes people money. So yeah, I mean, I don't think he's done. I think they need him and he needs them. Mentally and emotionally, they need each other. And some people need him financially, which sometimes can be really sad. But it is what it is. I don't know. But I want to get to you, Jenny. So before Mikaela comes on, talk to us about this super card. Like, all women, fucking badass women. I mean, what are your thoughts on this card?
Right. Well, the way it all came together, so Michaela's been trying to get this fight with Alicia, right? And she finally got it. And then this is around the same time that Clarissa got the fight with Savannah. And Part of the deal with Top Rank with Mikaela was like, well, you got to have captain on the card, and they're like, yeah, for sure, we want her on the card. So that's how I immediately got on the card, and this was before they set a date and everything. But then they decided to do it in London. Mikaela has been wanting to fight in London for a while because she does commentating for Sky Sports, so she's been over there. She's been building a good fan base over there, and Alicia's obviously with Matchroom. So they decided to do it in London. And then when the Clarissa and Savannah happened, then they were kind of thinking about, well, how about we put them on the same card and they can both be like the main event. And then it finally just turned in, all right, how about we just do an all-female card? And this is Top Rank and Box are talking together and working together. And so they're like, yeah, let's do this. And yes, it's a boxer card, but Top Rank is obviously involved in it. And then they just like, okay, we're gonna do it, and they set a date, and they finally filled up the whole card, and we've got some great female boxers. But me personally, I think it's like this is my second pro fight, and this is an iconic, historic card, and I'm so glad I'm a part of it, and I can't it's just awesome, and I'm excited. I'm going to be a part of it. I can't wait for it. It's going to be huge in the O2 Arena. I've never been to London, so this is going to be like an experience of a lifetime. So yeah, it's just really, really
I think
amazing.
this could be the hottest card of 2022, honestly.
Yeah,
and when I
yeah.
say that, I'm not just saying it. It could be the hottest card. Absolutely could be the hottest card.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, this is, like the Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano fight was a big change for female boxing. And then now we have this. This is another huge stepping stone for female boxing. So it's
and taking
all
nothing away from that, Billy Walsh, but
yeah.
But I think this is going to be even bigger and hotter. I really do.
Exactly.
And so, what do we know about your opponent? I don't even know who's your opponent? What do you know about her?
Well, all I know is her name is Gemma. I don't know really how to say her last name, Rug or something like that. She's from the UK. She has, as far as I've heard, has a good little UK fan base. So they know her obviously in the UK. But she doesn't have the best record, 5-4. But they know her over there.
She's got experience, 5-4.
Yeah, she's got experience. Yeah, I've only had 2 professional fights, but I've got a lot of experience altogether. But yeah, so I mean that's pretty much all I know about her. I've watched some film on her, so I know what to work on in camp, and I'm ready. I know it's scheduled 6 rounds, but it's not going to last 6 rounds.
No, it's not. Yeah. It's not. And I was telling Jenny earlier, Rashida Ellis, who's on the team here, and she was on the team with Jenny as well. We were just talking, there is nobody in Jenny's weight class that can beat her. Absolutely not. This little girl, she's tiny, but she has so much power, and she's southpaw. There's nobody, and I would put money behind it that can beat her. Absolutely not. Anybody have anything for Jenny? Oh, we can't hear you.
Yes, Naika, you're.
Sorry, I have my mic off.
Okay.
All right. So I want to know, is there a big difference that you see with you fighting in the amateurs now that you're in the pros?
Well, yeah, in the sense, I think I'm gonna be honestly a better professional fighter because I like going longer rounds. I like pacing, I'm able to pace myself. I like to take my time and sit down on my shots. I think I enjoy that style more than the amateurs. You only get three rounds and that's it. So you always gotta be constantly going a little faster pace. There's not much knockouts obviously in the amateurs because you're just trying to get the points. But so in that sense, that's gonna be the biggest difference. Is I'm not gonna have Billy always being like, hurry, left hand, more intensity. You know how he was, how he is now. My coach is like, all right, let's take your time, sit down on your shots and stuff. So that's the main difference, and I'm looking forward to that part.
So there's a question on that Julius, my guy Julius, follow him on J Street Sports on YouTube. He wants to know how many fights you need before you try to fight a champion.
Well, there's no number, like there's no book that says you need this many fights. But so me personally, I'm on the fast track. So I honestly, after this fight, maybe one more fight, maybe two more fights, and then I'm ready to go for a world title. What I'm looking to do is go fight Marlene and get her belts, and then
yes,
yeah,
the whole panel is like hell yeah.
That is kind of my plan. Like I said, might get one more.
That was going to be one of my questions for our friend D Style. Because Ginny, for people,
because he's in love with her.
Oh really?
Oh.
For people that don't know, right? You've fought her. I think it was 5 or 6 times in the amateurs, and more recently, you got the wins in the last couple fights with her. So for people that didn't know that, now you know. So that was going to be my question. You answered it. I know you're ready.
Yep. In fact, so when Juan was getting presented with the Centennial belt, and I was talking to the WA president about it, and I even asked, I was like, yeah, I know I'm only have one fight, and I'm about to get my second. I don't know how that mandatory process works. And I was just asking him, what would I have to do to make it mandatory for me to fight her? And he was just like, you know what? It's up to your team. If you feel, I know your background, your amateur background, you have a lot more experience than most of those girls out there. So if your team feels you're ready, then we can make it happen. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
HLB says she name drops, call out. Yes, I love it, and I love it too. Yeah, the whole panel loves it. So says, what about Yokosata Val?
I don't know who that is. I do not know who that is.
Yeah, you do, Esme? So what about her?
I mean, she's one that's being built up to fight. Who is it? She's being built up at the Marv Nation fights to fight. I want to say Marlene, but also she wants to go after Sinisa. That's who she wants to go after.
Good luck, girl.
Trained by Coach G. She's fast.
Where's she from?
Oh my God, it's somewhere in Latin America. I don't know where, but I know she's from Latin America. But she recently moved to the States to be on that track to try and fight Sinisa, but Sinisa just doesn't give her time of day. She's not on her radar. Not there yet.
Look who's dropping in. Hello, everyone. D Style. So Jenny just said that she's going to take Marlene's belts. How do you feel about that?
Right on cue.
Tears, honey, she can do it. Trust me.
Do tell.
Yeah, she can do it. Trust me.
So Mark Jones says that Vaya is from Costa Rica.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. Is she from Costa Rica? Okay. I think I might know who you're talking about now.
Hey, we got the champ in the house.
Howdy, everybody. How's it going?
Ahoy.
Ahoy, Captain.
You're on mute.
Oh.
No, you're on mute, Christine. Christine's on mute.
Sorry. Caleb, we were just talking about how Jenny wants to take Marlene's belts.
How what?
How Jenny wants to take Marlene's belts next.
Oh, yeah, but Marlene won't give her that fight.
See, yeah. So I say I have to make it mandatory.
Yeah, Marlene won't give her that fight. She knows Jenny will win that.
Oh, I know. So I was telling everybody that Rashida and I were just talking about how there's nobody in Jenny's weight class that can beat her. Like nobody.
I know, and that's what's so frustrating because just not being able to get as many fights and be as busy as you want to. But it'll happen. I feel like she just needs get a few more fights under her belt, get her face out there a little bit more, and you can't be denied. People,
yeah,
absolutely. So, Jenny, your best friend is talking like your manager.
Well,
I said, she's talking like your manager. We'll just get her a few more belts under her, a few more belts under her belt, and then we'll go for it. No, I love it. That's
Well,
what y'all do. That's what best friends
that's
do.
why she's my first mate, because when I'm off the ship doing whatever, she takes control of the ship.
Honestly, I'm really the one steering the ship. Like this.
She has no sense of direction, so I'm the one that tells her,
I'm the
she
one
needs
who
me to
gets
know where
us.
to go.
I'm the one who gets us land ho. Okay.
Right. I get it. No, I love it.
But I know which land to hoe.
Okay. Use your little compass on your wrist.
Yeah.
Mikaela, I was telling them earlier that Brian was like, "Oh my God, you're gonna have the best friends on. I don't know what's gonna happen." I said, "Yeah, we don't either, but whatever happens, happens. It's okay." That's how we do it. But we were talking about the card, and honestly, I think this could be the hottest card of 2022.
Hands
and
down.
I'm dead freaking serious.
Yep.
Like, it is a badass card. What are your thoughts on it?
I knew it was going to be badass from the beginning. And I think I've gotten a little bit of shit talking, these dummies who don't get it, who don't get the business aspect of this and get like how amazing and iconic this card is going to be. Alicia included, thinks that, it's stupid that I agreed to be the co-main event for Shields Marshall and blah, blah, blah. But to me, that's like all ego. And my ego, when this was first like brought to my attention, my ego didn't kick in and be like, oh, but I want to be a main event. Like, that's not what I thought about at all. Like, who cares? The money was already negotiated. So that wasn't a factor. And I figured it could be something different and awesome. And it could set the tone for something new in boxing that even the men don't do. And it would be iconic. And I was hoping that they would make it an all-female card. It wasn't for sure when I agreed to do it, but I'm glad they ended up making it all-female.
No, it's something else that Jenny was saying that I love and I admire so much, and anybody chime in whenever they want to, is that you said, yeah, I'll do it, but my girl's got to be on the card too. Like, that's what we do. But that's what we do. We pull each other up. Our best
That was
friends,
a boss move. That's what that was.
But that's what we do. And that is a perfect example of what we all should be doing. I mean, now,
thank you. I mean, now that I have this like platform, I gotta in this the level that I'm at, I gotta milk it a little bit, because if you look at these guys, if Shakur was like, hey, put my boy on the card, they're gonna do it because he's at that level. And so I need to use my power too to sort of like bring up, whether it's Ginny, my best friend, or like any of these other young women. So yeah, when young men have the opportunity all the time with the men who've already made it in this sport, and so women got to do it too.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mikaela. Hi, so nice to meet you. I'm Nancy with Boxing Republic. I'm just a fan. But you touched on something. Personally, I feel like legacy includes what you just did, right? It's when you look back at the fighter, it's all encompassing. Inside and outside of the ring. So you doing what you're doing, and that boss move, like G Funky said, is awesome. It's awesome for the sport. And I would love to get your perspective as well as Jenny's. From a fan, my perspective is that in recent years we have seen just the visibility for women's boxing, increase dramatically, right? But that's my perspective as a fan. Do you feel the same way? And what do you think attributes to kind of this fast track of visibility for women's boxing?
Oh yeah, no, it's just skyrocketed. It's insane the level that we're at. And I think it's a handful of things. I think number one, the most important thing is they finally allowed us to compete in the Olympics. And what that did was that allowed for women to compete at the highest possible level against the highest level of competition. And so that just elevated us right then and there, right? And so now you have women coming into the pros with multiple national titles and world medalists and Olympians and Olympic gold medalists. And this is the first time in history where women were able to come to promoters with those types of resumes. And so they couldn't really be denied anymore, right? They had to be like, oh, well, shoot, I guess you're right. Let's see how this goes. So, there's that. And then I think that there's like so many rivalries being built now, like in women's boxing. And there's always been rivalries with the men, and that's what gets the fans excited. And so I think it's skyrocketing because we're getting these rivalries against women who have these awesome resumes and accolades and can really like back up what they're saying. And so that's exciting. I think that's a huge factor.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So I have a question for you because hi, I'm Nika. Nice
Hi.
to meet you. So you and Alicia have had some of the best shit talking on back and forth on Twitter that I have seen in a long time. I want to know what the real beef is between y'all, because some fighters you can tell is just for like entertainment, but with you guys, I feel like there's a real beef there, and I don't know where it came from, so I'm just curious.
I'm gonna tell you exactly where it came from. Before Alicia Baumgardner was Terry Harper, right? And if you've been following me, you know that I was coming for Terry Harper hard. I was trying to get that fight with Terry Harper for a couple of years. And they wouldn't give it to me, And so when Alicia beat Terry Harper, she did her thing. I have nothing bad to say about that fight. She did what she had to do. Naturally, as the champion that I am, a champion that I am with the goal to go undisputed and wanting to fight the best, which I've always feel like I've advocated for, I started coming for Alicia. Point and blank. It's the second she won. I mean, I was tweeting about it saying, let's go. And she didn't say my name. She would not, people would ask her, who do you want next? And she would literally not say Mikaela. Meanwhile, I'm calling out champion after every fight, trying to get the biggest fights made. And so, to me, she took it personally. She took it as like I was being a hater, told everyone else that I would have to wait, that it's her time to shine. But I wasn't being a hater. I was just being a champion. I was being a champion who wants to go out and fight the best and continue to make the biggest fights possible. And that's just what I'm doing. Everything that I've said up until now has been truthful.
I like that line. I wasn't being a hater. I was being a champion.
I was being a champion. That's exactly what I was doing. She took it personal. She took it personal, but hey, it built the fight. She, when she talks shit, it tends to be a little bit like degrading. She wants to talk about the way I look and my body and whatever. Everything I've said is just facts. I've literally just spoken facts.
And you keep it boxing. Yeah,
I keep it boxing. I would never low blow. I never talk about another woman and the way they look or whatever. Like, everyone's different. Everyone's unique in their own way. I talk about boxing and styles and skill. Like, that's really all I've talked about. So, and everything I said would get to where we are right now. So.
So, anybody else has a question for her?
I'm waiting for you women to finish up. I'll go last. I'll let the ladies go first. I'll be the gentleman.
Yes, me.
Hi, I'm photographer de la gente.
Hi.
Fighter. Then I started this was years ago, and I started just doing boxing photography. I combined the both. But with all the aggression that, like, everything that's going on, do you know that's what's come out in the ring? Like, do you feel like, obviously you're absolute best? Are you aiming for like a TK? Are you aiming for anything in particular, or is it just?
Listen, what's so funny about this is Coach Al, me and Coach Al like this, and we always have a very strong game plan going into every fight. And he never lets me get a big head. He always keeps me humble, keeps me hardworking. We don't look past anybody. I mean, I'm training for the best possible version of Baumgardner. Even though I've talked about how I feel we're levels apart and I'm going to kick her ass, I still believe it. But I'm training for the absolute best version of her, and I'm looking at everything that she does well, and so is Coach Al. And Coach Al never looks for the knockout. He's like, we always sticking for the game plan. But he's so funny because he's seen the way she's talked. He's like, I want you to embarrass her. He's like, I hate to say this, Mikaela, but I want you to stop it. I want you to really hurt her. I want you to make her look. I just want you to make her look bad. I'm like, that's like the worst. That's like the most shit talking Coach Al will ever.
I was gonna say, it looks like it would take a lot for him to get to that point to say something like that.
It's so funny. He's like, I really, really want this fight. I'm like, don't worry, Coach. I'm right there with you. Like, so, yeah, this fight, there's a lot of bad blood here, and it's gonna make for an even greater fight. But yeah, I'm just gonna do what I always do: listen to my corner and go out there and just execute the game plan that we got. And
everyone's waiting for you guys to come face to face.
Huh?
Everyone's waiting for you guys to be like literally face to face at the weigh-ins, at the press conferences. So, That does that give you like butterflies in your stomach? Are you just like so excited and like you want to get it over with and start it now?
We actually already started a little bit. No, it'll be released fight week, but we did have a face-to-face.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We did. It was over video to video, but like it'll be released in like a week or so, and you guys will all see it. But we got a little chance to go at each other. I don't know if they're gonna do another like off the gloves things between us and we get there face to face or sit down. Like no one's said anything about that to me yet. But like I said, everything I've said is facts, and so I have nothing. Like I have no reason to be nervous. I have no reason. I'm not lying about anything. I genuinely believe in everything that I say. I don't feel like I'm doing any low blows. Whereas I feel like that's more her style. So yeah, I'm just gonna take it as it comes, and I feel like everyone will just see like the realness versus whatever she's doing.
Yeah, I agree. You've been keeping in boxing. And this is a big fan of hers that I just highlighted the comment. And I knew he was going to come in here and talk his shit. He says he got AB stopping you in the later rounds, if not the middle rounds. What do you have to say to him coming in here and talking his shit?
Well, that's okay. I'm sure all of her fans probably are thinking that. I don't care. People thought that too when I was going up against Hamadouche, who has what, like how 90% knockout ratio. So, I'm not afraid of her power. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna box the way I always box, and I'm gonna stick to the game plan. And I truly feel like I'm gonna overwhelm her with my skill and my output. But no, I don't care. I don't care what other people say. They're not there in my training. They're not there in my corner. Let them be Team Baumgartner. I don't care. If you look at the Vegas bets, though, the smart ones know. If you look at the Vegas odds, the smart ones know.
I like that. So I guess I'll go now.
Yes,
like
go
I said,
ahead.
I wanted to wait for all the ladies to go first, but
I
I have a
think
question.
Christine is having some audio issues. She's coming in and out. So go ahead, G Funky.
Well, I have a question for both of the ladies here that fight. And I've interviewed quite a few female fighters over the past couple years, and I always ask them this question, and I'm gonna ask both of you this question. The 2-minute rounds is something that I've always asked questions about. Do you feel like the sport would benefit to keep 2-minute rounds or to extend it to 3-minute rounds like the men?
I have a solid answer on this. I don't know, because Ginny just turned pro. So when I first turned pro, I couldn't have answered that for you because I was just getting my feet wet, But now, as going into my 18th fight as a pro, and knowing my style now and knowing who I am as a boxer and athlete, I definitely feel like those 3-minute rounds would benefit me. Specifically, if we're talking about personally, I think they would benefit me because I feel like by the end of those 10 2-minute rounds, my opponents are this close to going, a lot of them. And if I would have had a couple more minutes or a couple more rounds, I would have a lot more knockouts in my record. I'm not necessarily a one-punch knockout person, but I overwhelm my opponents and I break them down towards the end of the fight, which I think is just as dope and just as effective. And the men have time to do that. The men have time to show that. And I think with the level that women's boxing is at now, that we deserve that. And I think that you can't go based off of even like a year or two ago. You've got to look at where women's boxing is right now. And we just talked about it. It's grown, it developed so much. The women at the top of the game, especially in these world title fights, we deserve those extra minutes. We can handle it. And it's going to allow women to really, a lot of people argue that women still aren't impressive and we still don't have that pro style and we throw punches and blah blah blah, have that amateur style. But if you allow us to give us that time and give us those 3-minute rounds, it's just like letting us into the Olympics. We're now going to be able to compete at a higher level, and the skill and it's just going to continue to grow, and we're going to be able to continue to sort of just heighten the level that us women are at. So I think we need it. I think we'll get it sooner than later. I think it has to. Evolution is just, we can't be denied forever. They're going to have to give it to us. Maybe not in my era, but I'm definitely pushing for it.
Well, I think there'd be more knockouts. People always complain about, women don't have knockouts. They're not that exciting. I think that if we did do the 3 minutes, there would be more knockouts.
There would.
Women need time just like the men do. I mean, they don't happen in the first 2 minutes of a round for men. So, I mean, I think that you need to be allotted the same time. You know,
Yeah.
that's just my opinion.
And
And
the more I settle into my pro style, the more I want that. I want that time because I don't want to just throw punches. I really want to. It's a sweet science, right? I want to set my opponents up and be smart about it. And it's just you don't have the time to do that in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, what's your answer, Ginny?
well, I was gonna say, and okay, boxing has always been 3 minutes, right? Why make it different? That's just how it's always been. I know we're women and the sexes are different, but let's just make it the same. In the amateurs, they changed that back in 2017. They decided that the women would do 3 minutes and 3 rounds. So why not do that in the pros now? I don't, it's just that's how the boxing game is. Let's keep it that way. Let's not make any changes just because we're females. And then and then everything Mikaela said, you'd have more time to do more, and what Christine said, more knockouts, just more entertainment, more time to show what we can do in the ring.
This is a really cute comment. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Christine.
I was
I'll
just
wait.
gonna say this is a really cute comment by Wishbone14. Alicia will outclass and outbox her, easy wins. Okay, you know what? First of all, she walks with her hands down. She taps gloves instead of body head. She doesn't pop her punches. She moves unnecessarily. She's slow. She wants to stalk her victim. Who's going to stand in front of her? Not Mikaela.
No.
Wants people to stand in front of her. Like, that's cute. I don't think that you've ever seen Mikaela fight if you think that she's going to outbox her.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, people have all this confidence in Alicia, but I'm like, when have you guys seen her actually do all these things that you guys think that she can do? We saw her stop Terry Harper, but like that was about it. Like, even her last fight with Matisse, she couldn't even hurt. She said, you could say, she said that my fight with Han was boring and blah blah blah. But at least I had Han bloody and running. I mean, she didn't even. Matisse wasn't even phased. So I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
We have people that are not watching your fights or her fights commenting, like, obviously, because
they're
they
just
have
fans,
no clue.
Christine. That's all.
No, they're because Steven that's on the thing now. He's a fan of hers, but I don't really know if he's a fan of hers as far as like boxing. I think he's just a fan of her as like being, a beautiful woman. That's just me being honest, Steven, because I see you on the timeline being thirsty over her. So you gotta be real here.
And you've got two more beautiful women up here too. I mean, Ginny and Mikaela are beautiful too, but they can kick ass. So there's a big difference.
If I could just comment to the answers that I got from the fighters here, I've heard a lot of different mixed answers from a lot of different women fighters. So it's good to hear you guys saying you want those 3-minute rounds because you feel like you could get more done. But since they are 2-minute rounds now, do you both feel like there is pressure to do more and to get things done quicker because of the 2 minutes, or do you still kind of just want to work your way over time over the 10 rounds and then try to get the stoppage then? Because a lot of fans, a lot of, I should say, male fans, their complaint with women's boxing is that there's not a lot of knockouts. A lot of them want to see a knockout. But do you feel like because there are 2 minutes that there's pressure there to try to get the job done quicker?
Like I said, the more I settle into my pro style, the more I want that extra time, because a true sound pro style, like, you need that extra time. Luckily I have that amateur background. I've been conditioned and trained to have that high punch count, and so I can handle the 2 minutes. But I also think a lot of people can't a lot of women, they're not conditioned enough for those 3 rounds. Like, the ones who say no, I don't want it, there's a reason they don't want it, because you have to adjust your training. Now I train in altitude. I do interval running, ton of it, sparred 10 3-minute rounds in altitude. Like, I'm ready for it. I can do it. That's why I get stronger as the rounds go on. But I don't think everyone is. And that's why it'll separate. The cream will rise to the top. Like, you really will see the elite of the elite in the women when you go to 3-minute rounds. You'll see it. There'll be a huge separation.
And I probably won't say it, but she's talking about the altitude and the conditioning. And Alicia tried to come here. She tried to come to train in the same altitude, the same environment, the same everything. But guess what? She got sent home because people are loyal to Mikaela here. I mean, she's been here at the OTC. She's been, everywhere. It's she's not going to get in. And why did she want to come here? Like, why not stay where you're at with your team? She would try to go to a triple threat, but she wasn't allowed to. So yeah, we definitely Mikaela has an advantage. The altitude, the environment, everything is definitely an advantage. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. So I live here.
We've talked a lot about just the physical readiness, right? Like the stamina and just being physically ready and prepared for a fight. And a topic that's been pretty popular as of late is the importance of the mental readiness, right? The overall mental health coming into a fight. And I'd love to hear from both of you, how you feel about the importance of also being mentally ready, right? And Ginny, you specifically, I'd love to also hear your perspective because I understand that mental health is one of the reasons that you got into the sport. So I'd love to hear from both of you on that.
Ginny's got a whole lot going on in that brain of hers.
Well, yeah, honestly, like I tell people all the time, boxing helps me because it brings me out of my like OCD anxiety world. So like the all of it together, the camp, the training, the preparation, the fight itself, boxing allows me to, like, I guess, keep sane, I want to say, but really just keep me like going forward in life and not just get stuck in my OCD world in life. So I think I look at boxing as that way, as like that is my purpose to keep going in life, even though I'm over here every day struggling with this OCD issue I have. I enjoy going to the gym and the fight. It again, it just like helps.
I think like what I think you're saying, Ginny, is like that's almost easier. That's like almost
easier, yeah,
for you.
Yeah.
Like the hardest part of your life is like at home. Like you're like, you guys think this is fucking hard? You should see what I do in the bathroom this morning. Like, get out of here.
I look as oh, I'm ready for the fight. Yay, I can get away from this world. I'm excited. Yes, I'm obviously thinking, the moment itself and the pressure, but I never let that really get to me. I'm looking at like this is what I'm meant for, I guess I should say. But
your escape.
And I love that you've just been so open about talking, on the topic and like your personal experience, as I had shared with you prior, because I share the same. And what's interesting is boxing is that for you, and it's I'm not a fighter, but it's that for me too, because we've all talked about how this is like our therapy. Like, this is like our happy place, talking about boxing.
Yeah, no, I tell because people are like, how do you box though? It's like the most dirtiest sport ever. I was like, well, it's like my therapy, actually. So that
I'm not gonna lie, I have said that to myself about you because I was like,
dealing with
because I have like slight OCD, and like I was just thinking like all the sweat and everything. I was like, I don't know how she has OCD and she's like boxing. Like that's kind of like one of the
why? Because when you're fighting, it's so intense and there's so much on the line and it means so much, and people are punching you in the face literally, that you don't have time to think about your OCD. Like you're like in fight mode, right? So you just don't. It's got to be second.
No, like when the fight is over, are you like, oh my god,
no,
shower? Like
no, I'm not. I'm enjoying. Like I soak up it and I enjoy it, and I really don't start thinking about it until I'm back at my hotel room. I'm like, fuck, I got a shower, and then I start thinking about, oh, this touched me, or like the whole process of my shower routine. But like actually like in a fight or in the gym, I might have some thoughts of like, oh, that touched me, but those thoughts immediately go away because I'm like, whoa, okay, no, focus on what I'm here to do or what I'm here to work on in the gym. Or if I'm in a fight, I can't, I don't even have those thoughts when I'm in a fight because I'm so focused on beating the person in front of me.
Yeah, that has to be hard because like I lose it if somebody moves something that I have in place because I know where I keep everything at. If somebody just move something out the way, I go insane. So you have to have like even more patience and like with what you're going through during a
Just
fight. So
that constant, the struggle to be present,
yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
staying present is what helps. And
Yes,
Mikaela,
exactly.
for you and you getting ready mentally, for all your fights, you have a great team, at least, from what we've seen. The chemistry just looks like it's amazing, right? And every fight, I mean, you just see it, that click, that mesh is awesome. So I'm sure that also helps with the mental readiness. But can you also speak, to your thoughts on the importance of it?
Ginny, me.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Mikaela.
I think
Okay,
you're talking
Nancy,
Mikaela.
wait, rephrase the question.
Yeah, wait. You're talking to me?
Rephrase the question.
Yes, to both of you.
Oh,
But I was addressing you, Mikaela, just to
oh,
get your thoughts on just the importance of the mental readiness, before
yeah.
a fight, and how critical
So
that is. Because I was sharing just how, like, from a fan's perspective, your corner, of course, you can tell you just have that support and that mesh,
okay,
and how
I heard your
critical that
question.
is.
I thought you were
Yeah.
talking to her. Okay. Okay. So this is what I always say. Like, my confidence going into a fight. Everyone has nerves going into a fight. Like, there's a lot on the line, especially at this level. Like, every fight is my biggest fight. But I handle all that by knowing that I did everything right in camp. That I trained my hardest. That whatever I missed, Coach Al got. Whatever Coach Al missed, Coach K got. Whatever I got a manager who's all, everything's the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, whatever they freaking say. But yeah, I know that I did all the work and that I have such a solid team around me and that they would never let me go into a situation unprepared. I know I didn't cut any corners. I know they didn't cut any corners. And when you know that you did the work right, you sort of have to just release control off of that. Like, right? You take the pressure off yourself and say, I did my absolute best. Now I'm going to go into that ring on fight night and do the absolute best also. Do my absolute best also. Like, that's all I can ask of myself. That's all I can do. I know I prepared right. And then that's it. Like, you just can't dwell on it. You can't overthink. You can't stress about it. You just got to trust in the process and be confident in your training camp.
Absolutely. And Mikaela has one of like the strongest teams like
Yes.
around. Like, seriously, like the people around her coach, her coaches. I mean, you just don't get too much better than that. Like,
yeah, I mean, Coach
I'm
Al
not
is
just
like,
saying that. He's
I get so much confidence from Coach Al
the
too,
goat.
because he's so hard on me in camp. He's so hard on me in camp that the camp, if I got through that training camp and I got through that sparring, like, the fight is easy because the camp was the hardest. And him in my ear, you should see my sparring sessions. Like, he's so
And I don't know
frustrating.
if everybody knows he's so like he's a perfectionist. Like,
A
no, you got to do it like this. He'll do stuff over and over and over again. Tell us just like a little segment so that people that don't know Coach Al can like get like a taste of who he is.
Like,
I would love to hear
I
it.
don't trust coaches that don't say anything to their fighter during sparring. Like, Coach Al is yelling at me through the entire round. And it's frustrating and sometimes it throws me off, but what it does is it's gotten me so connected to his voice. And like, so in a fight, like, I can hear him and react within seconds. Like, I can listen and I can adjust and I can do that. But it's frustrating in sparring, right? Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, just shut up and let me think. But he doesn't make it easy. I'm having to multitask. I'm having to think. I'm having to adjust. I'm having to listen to him. Oh my God, one time he was just so frustrated with me. He literally jumped in the ring, grabbed me by my headgear, and dragged me out. Like, I was literally being pulled like this. He pulled me through the ropes and said, get outside and jump rope. And I was so embarrassed. Like, everyone just saw me get dragged by my headgear. Like, I was on the verge of tears. I was like, what the hell? But he's like, if I'm not listening to him, he's like, he just gets so frustrated. So, yeah, it's really
He's the
all
best.
about please. There's an example for you. Hasn't happened in a while. He's been pretty happy with me lately, but damn.
He's the best.
He's old.
You can, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say he's old school all the way,
Yeah.
and that's what made me a fan of him. I remember back 20 something years ago when he was coaching David Reed and when he was coaching Vernon Forrest. The way that he spoke to those fighters, especially during the fight, I just really love how blunt and how direct he is with his instructions.
Mhm.
He's no nonsense, and those are the type of men that I was raised around. I was raised around my grandfather, who was born in the 1920s, and he was old school all the way. And when I hear men like that talk, it just reminds me of that. And he's he's a dying breed. I tell you that. I love listening to him coach.
He is. Yeah, I'm really like, he's getting older. I'm just like trying to soak up everything he's taught me. Yeah, I don't know if anything ever happened to him. I don't know. I don't know if I could keep boxing.
So there's a question on the screen, and then I have a question after that.
Okay.
This is from Writing Yogi. She wants to know: do you think Baumgartner's jab is overrated since Terry Harper was off that night?
Um, I think that she has a very pine jab. I don't think she has that good of a jab. It's she makes it stiff once in a while down to the stomach, but for the most part, it's like weak and pine. Yeah, I think my jab is way better than mom's jab.
So my question is: have you and Ginny sparred against each other? And when you do, if you have, do you go all out?
Ginny's
Like,
tiny.
I know, but like
we have we've sparred like and worked on like technical things, but I mean years ago, like we haven't sparred. She's been with Team USA for the past 4 years while I've been pro. So, but yeah, we've definitely been in the ring together.
I think the last time we sparred was like when you were first turning pro, maybe like your second fight when you were still in LA.
Do you guys take it easy on each other since y'all like besties? Or
I mean, we like work on stuff.
You just see our fights when it's not in the ring.
Yeah, that's where our real fights are. Get the fuck out of the shower, Jenny! You're the only person in this hotel room. Can I cuss on here?
Why did you touch that?
But I've watched a lot of your stories, and you terrorize Jenny.
Dude, it's the only way that we would ever like be able to stay friends because she annoys me so much that if I were to like hold it all in, I would just have to like break up with her as a friend. But like the fact that I can get it out and cuss her out and be like, "Hey, are you ready? Let's go."
Yeah.
It works. It works. She doesn't take it personally because she knows she's
annoying. Well, yeah, because I was like, yeah, I know, I get it, but I'm still gonna do it. But I get
it. yeah. They're freaking hilarious. Oh my gosh,
I love it. I love it. I love that you have this friendship, and I love that it's a friendship where both of you are in, let's call it, different seasons of life within the sport, right? Mm-hmm. But just coming together and again, just going back to, Mikaela, that boss move, like G Funky said, that you did is just awesome. It just makes me love the card even more. When I first saw it, I had to sit with it for a moment. Like I had to sit with it because I'm like, wow. And then you spoke to the business aspect of it, right? So everything that had to come together to make it happen, and what everybody had to be willing to do to make it happen is phenomenal.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you.
So somebody wants to know.
Jenny,
they say, I love how Mikaela has made. Oh, sorry. I want to, because this is a good question. Because they want to. I love how Mikaela has made Spice Girls reference in her IG stories. I like to ask her what she thinks her own Spice nickname would be.
I don't know. We can think about my own Spice nickname, but the reason why I love the Spice Girls is because I have a little bit of each one of those Spice Girls inside me. We all do. We all like. We're all at sometimes like Baby Spice, Sporty Spice, Ginger Spice, Scary Spice. Like we all have all these different, what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, a little bit of each character.
A little bit of each character.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah. I know I have like multiple different personalities and things that I'm rocking from day to day. So, yeah, I just like to embrace all those different personalities and styles.
And that's pretty empowering too, though. I mean, like the group was very like, girl power empowering, but just looking at it like in that way, that's empowering that, we all do. And that's what makes us like awesome as women.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Love the Spice Girls.
Absolutely. So before we close out, does anybody have a question for Jenny or Mikaela?
I have more of a comment than anything because Like I said earlier, I talked to a lot of female fighters over the past couple years, and we've done our part to try to get the word out about women's boxing and to get it going once again. But this year has been a really good year for women in boxing. We had a big card already back in April with Serrano and Taylor. That was a historic night in the Garden where they headlined and they did big. There was a big crowd there, and you two ladies are going to be on another big card, and it's going to be a part of history for women's boxing. And I'm excited to see what comes from this, because, like I said, women's boxing right now is kind of getting a bad rap from a lot of fans, but I think that it's going in the right direction right now.
I think that true fans are embracing it. I think that people who are still a decade behind and don't really want to see women on the forefront of this sport, this male-dominated sport, have something negative to say. But you can't just look where we are now. Look at the skill level. Look at the talent. Like, it's just you can't say anything bad about where we are. It's just ridiculous. So
Proved ourselves.
say what?
We
What-
proved ourselves.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. And the
Yeah,
talent
that's
pool is
true.
only getting deeper. I mean, these girls coming up are going to be insanely talented. They're going to be starting a decade before we did. My biggest fear is I'm going to retire, and then young girls are going to ask me to be a coach. And I'm like, shit, I never want to be a coach. And then I'm going to get suckered into it.
You're going to be suckered into it. They're going to be driving other countries around like I did all day today. But yeah.
And I'm never going to get out. I'm never going to get out.
Hey, look, so I was gonna piggyback off of this guy's question. If you could give Alicia a Spice Girl name, what would what would her Spice Girl name be?
God, I got to think about that one. It's got to be good. I don't know. Let me think about that. I'll get back to you.
Somebody in the chat also asked, "Are you doing a?"
I don't think
I think
she's
it's
cool
called
enough to be a Spice Girl, to be honest.
Yeah, somebody asked, "Are you doing a gloves are off like Savannah and Shields are?"
I don't know.
this fight?
It has been brought to my attention. I have tons of media booked for when I get to the UK, but that hasn't been on the list yet. I haven't seen it, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'm expecting some type of face to face. Too big of a rivalry to not. I'm sure.
And when do you two get there for like the time change and all that stuff? Is there a certain date that you're shooting for, or like
I
have
leave
to?
Saturday. I leave Saturday. I'm going out early.
Yeah, I leave the
Okay.
4th.
Acclimated, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll leave the 4th,
Absolutely.
just a week out.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, traveling mercies to both.
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
Thank you.
it definitely, you have us here rooting, cheering you on, and we'll be watching both of you, take those wins.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah,
We really
Yes,
do.
thanks for coming on.
I'm sorry I had bad reception. I'm in the OTC and I'm in my dorm. I know y'all this looks familiar. Y'all been here before, but
Well, you got to come to Houston. Evans wanted me to tell you hi.
oh
He
my
said-
gosh, yes, tell them I said
Ginny,
hi.
nobody wants to go to Houston. Nobody.
You know what?
Telling everybody come to Houston. Nobody wants to go there.
Oh my
I'll
God,
get
he's
on
like
the
so
boat.
obsessed with
hours,
Texas.
like 4 hours away,
Yes.
and yes, she does.
She's so obsessed with Texas. Like, oh my
No.
god. And LSU.
Just because
I'm
I'm
obsessed
proud
with
of,
Texas too.
or just because I'm proud of where I'm from, and I'm a Tiger. Yes, LSU. She
Oh
hates.
my
She always,
god, shut
she's always
up.
hating on my LSU
Okay,
Tigers.
I see Luna and Moose. I miss them.
That purple and gold.
Luna.
I hear there's
Oh,
bad
baby.
traffic in Houston too. Is that true?
Oh, baby.
Yeah. That's one thing I did not miss living in Colorado.
Yeah, I know, right?
True.
No, thank you, ladies, so much, and we'll be in touch. We
Okay.
appreciate
All right.
Right on, guys. Have a good night.
All right.
You
Bye, guys.
too. Bye-bye.
Good luck. Good luck. Oh, we lost our host.
Oh, I don't know if she was ending it all together or what.
We can
No.
still
Oh,
find
okay, okay.
I was like, no, that was so cool. That was so cool. And
Yes.
I'm so glad
That was
that
good. Just
came
the fact
on
that
and
they-
talked
I
to
mean-
us and everything. We didn't get to talk about the Showtime or the top rank fights, but you know what? It's okay.
You know,
This
yeah,
was
we
It was
could,
a good night.
oh yeah, it
good
was a
night.
good, yeah.
And
So
Jason,
before we
he's so
close
grateful
out,
that you were
everybody
able to
go
join.
around and give us last final thoughts and where can we find y'all and all that good stuff. G Funky, you're hold on, you're right here, so you're next. You're first.
Then we'll give a fist bump to my big sis here, Christine, for having
Oh,
me on, and Nancy as well, Nika,
absolutely.
and that's me. I love you guys. Thanks for having me on. If you want to subscribe to the channel, G Funky Boxing here on YouTube, on Twitter at GFunky84. I just dropped a video a few minutes before I came here. I was real impressed with a young fighter out of Mexico on the undercard of the top rank, Lendolfo Delgado. I really liked the way that he fought and used his jab. To me, it was very reminiscent of the way that Oscar used to throw his jab. So I made a quick video about it. It's only about 2-3 minutes. So
Okay.
slide on over and check it out. And again, thank you so much for having me on. This was great.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Come on anytime. Nancy, what's up? Okay, hold on. Fist bump this way.
Boom. Boom.
Final
You're
words.
gonna get it right. Oh, this was so awesome. You know, I shout out to my son who had a great football practice and bared with me as I was rushing to get here to be with y'all because I knew it was just going to be an awesome show as it always is. And then having Mikaela and Ginny, you know, just phenomenal. Boxing Republic, so that's going to be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and here on Wednesdays with my girls. And make sure that you do follow all our friends, everybody on the
Absolutely.
chat. We really do have like the best chat. I just want to say that.
We
but,
do.
You know,
we do.
everybody
we love
from, you know, Sean with Long Live and D Style, G Funky. I mean, you know, I know Lennox is always on Writing Yogi. You know,
Yes.
love you too. She's awesome.
HLD.
Everybody, HLD. We got Robbie that's on as well. And then we had a lot of new people, which I loved, Nando and everybody else.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Thank you for giving us this platform, Christine. And I'm ready for the fights.
Oh, my gosh. Me too. And my girl Esme has left the building for a second. So, Nika, what's on your mind? Final words.
So final words is let me just do a little something. You know, people gotta stop crying sympathy tweets on social media trying to create a hate train for me. It's not gonna happen, girl.
Not gonna happen.
And you know you won't. I'm not gonna say your name because you cried last time when I said it and called me a bully. And now you're trying to create this hate train, but it's not gonna happen, girl. People love me. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
They do.
Stop crying wolf online when you create these things for people to jump on you for. Like, I don't want to hear it. Cut the bullshit. Like, I hate people who cry victim when they do the corniest shit. Like, stop it. Being a bully is not speaking up for, like, me speaking up for myself is not being a bully. It's me telling you, you know, where to go and where to stick it. That's not being a bully. Look up the definition of a bully. All right. And if you want me to say your name, I will. But keep it cute. Keep it cute. There's no bullies up here at all. All right. So you can follow me on Nika Say Nika. You can find me here on Wednesdays, like Women Crushing It Wednesdays. And everybody have a great evening, everybody. I'm glad for y'all tuning in.
I love you. Oh my God, I love you.
Trying to call us bullies. Get the fuck out of here. All right, Esme, what are your final words?
Final words.
You're on mute.
Can't hear you, Mama.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, someone's getting the logo tattooed. Good. Do it. You'll be on the show. You'll be our, do it.
I jump on Twitter from time to time, but I am at Esme Ferraro, so you can find me there on Twitter. Usually just to see what's going on in the Twitter sphere.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to my beautiful girls. We have like the funnest show. You know, it's laid back. It's not formal. We just say what we want to say. And, you know, we have, I'm getting the logo tattoo, Christine. Thank you. Please do. Absolutely. And we will put you on our screen.
So, you know, please keep like sharing, you know, what y'all got today. This is us. You know, we're not a major production by any means, but we
don't need major production.
We're homegrown, y'all.
You don't need major production at all.
We're homegrown, y'all. We're all organic in terms of just coming together the way that we do, and we just love boxing, you know. So, you can share your opinions, and at the end of the day, it's all, you know, the sport that we love. So
Well, and people don't understand. So the way you get people on is through relationships or being a big network. And we're not quite there yet, but we have great relationships. You can't just tag people on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram and think that they're going to come on your show. No, it's about relationships and the kind of person that you are. So, you know, it is what it is.
amen.
So thank you all. I love my girls. I love the chat, and we will see you next Wednesday. We've got some big shows coming up, some great guests. So stay tuned. Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Love to love you.